Welcome to the Island Times. I'm Tom Patton. Kurtis Loftus is a well-known businessman here in Jacksonville Beach. He's the owner of the Kurtis Group, an advertising boutique, and he's a Guinness World Record holder for surfing. And we'll talk about that in just a little bit. But Kurtis has been working on a project for some time to bring some public art to a very public place in Jacksonville Beach that he says would be a great way to greet the visitors that come to visit us every year. Kurtis, thanks for joining us on the Island Times. Tell us about your vision.
Well, Tom, thank you for having me. In 2009, being a beach resident here, work at the beach, play at the beach, I drive by a water tower on A1A. This water tower is 65 years old, something like that, about 135 feet tall. Standard water tower, painted blue, now has the antennas on it for cell phones. Right. So in 2009, for whatever reason, I was attracted by sort of the, I don't know, let's just call it the ugliness of the tower. It's in a popular spot. I mean, A1A, right there at 22nd Avenue North, or South, excuse me, where the tower is, has about 50,000 some cars driving along that route every day. So here's this tower, sort of at the entry point of Jacksonville Beach, with a lot of traffic moving by it, and it presents itself in this manner that I thought's rather unattractive. So I researched towers. I started researching what people do with their water towers across the country, and found that a lot of businesses or cities, municipalities will paint the water tower, sometimes do a painting or create something that reflects on the city or on the business, just so that it's kind of an identity piece. So that's where we're at with this water tower project.
So how far along are you? Where are you in the process?
Well, it sat for a while. I mentioned this was 2009, and I did a lot of research back then, thinking about our city. This was when the economy was sort of tanking, and city services were, being reduced. You were seeing, like even our Jacksonville Beach area, you were seeing marketing departments go away. You were seeing city services lessen because the economy was in pretty tough shape. So I thought maybe there's a way that we can get public-private thing going with this tower. And I presented at the time to city managers, presented to Steve Lindorf, who is involved with planning, and it sort of sat. I knew that there were going to be some real potential pushback, or things that were going to be hard to climb over to get this thing going, and I had other projects going on, so let it stop for a while. And then recently with the ferry, and this is really why it kind of came back up again. I'm real involved with the St. Johns River Ferry. It's tied to A1A, and it's tied to a lot of things that, in a sense, this tower is kind of tied to. So I want to see this ferry success, or sustained. And again, it's a money issue, and it's an awareness issue. And I'm like, well, maybe the two can go together. Maybe if I relaunch this tower project, start talking again in public forums, and bring ideas to the table, knowing that I can't do this all by myself. But if I can bring some ideas to the table, get city leadership to understand that this is a win-win, not just for the city, but also for just Jacksonville Beach and the residents here, then who knows? Give it a year, give it 2 years, but start this process in a public forum.
Do you have anybody who's been interested as far as a monetary contribution is concerned? Have you gotten any traction in the business community talking about this issue?
No, in fact, that's really going to happen only if I feel publicly that this can be accepted. It's kind of like, which comes first? Do you go after it and start investigating? Would there be potential, let's call them naming rights sponsors to this tower? Or is there going to be pushback publicly because they don't see those two going together? Sometimes that's the hard bridge. It's interesting. I was driving down the road the other day, and I saw a sign, "Keep Jacksonville Beautiful," on the side of the road, and it's an Adopt a Highway program that the city's initiated a long time ago. It's very successful, and what they do is businesses come in, they take over a section of highway, and they pay an annual fee to actually clean that portion of the highway on a monthly basis. And it's like I don't know, it's a great way for the city, for public-private interest to work together and see some common good. So this is similar in that regard. I see the water tower, its location, on A1A, and the potential of beautifying that water tower, creating a welcome beacon, and at the same time potentially seeing, an annual revenue, new revenue to the city at a time when it's hard to find new revenue.
Where would that revenue come from, and how would that benefit the city?
Well, if it came from a private, let's just think about the large corporations that can fund an art project like this. Again, another similar sort of, if I want to put it in an analogy, it'd be like naming rights on the side of a stadium.
Sure.
Everbank Field is, very widely seen. It's widely seen. It's on national television and international, depending on the Jaguars and who they're playing. So Everbank has, a naming rights agreement, and it's a major, financial sort of stake for the Jaguars and for the city. I want to do something like that. I think that's ideally large corporate sponsor with sensitivity to how you handle the naming rights, so that the tower is first and foremost beautified, and it is reflecting well on Jacksonville Beach. The citizens here, what we're about, it's got to meet those standards.
Now, you're getting involved also in the One Spark Festival in downtown Jacksonville this coming week. So what is your involvement there, and how will your participation there move this project forward?
Yeah, I appreciate you asking about that. The One Spark is, and again, the timing of One Spark is perfect. I really needed some initiative to get myself, talking about the idea, put it in a public forum, and get other people understanding what we're trying to do. So One Spark downtown, April 17th through the 21st, is the perfect forum for a creative idea. There's 450 other creative ideas that are going to be downtown, so I'm kind of competing against a lot of great ideas, good energy, but without that kind of a forum, I probably wouldn't have done anything with this idea except maybe talk to leadership and just wonder and hope maybe it can happen one day. Now I've got the impetus to do something with it. ShotCon has put up about $1 million. That money will essentially, I think, be seed money for companies or for product ideas. He'll review the plan, and you have to submit a plan, an application. It gets reviewed, and then depending on the review process, you might have a chance to get in front of a team of people, kind of like Shark Tank. And they look at it and they go, this isn't going to work. You don't have an end game here. Or they look at it and say, wow, this is a terrific idea, and we'll help you get this thing, at least I think the seed money for me to work on this for the next 2 years. It's going to take 2 to 3 years. It's not going to be, oh, we're done in a year and this thing's,
Can't throw it up next week.
No, it's definitely a process that if I'm going to stay engaged in it, I'm going to need some support like a ShotCon or some other people that have the same vision and see this as something worthwhile.
Can you describe some of the initial ideas that have come up for how you want to decorate this water tower?
Okay, yeah, and that's part of a presentation that I have. And again, I want to say that I know this is just me launching the idea, that there are designers and artists and craftsmen.
You're a pretty good artist in your own right, Chris.
Thank you. Yeah. And I appreciate that. But I would love to see this as a sort of southeastern, even something regional, where we have a design competition. So what happens is we end up bringing designers, inviting them from all over the country even, and saying, here's this project, go ahead and initiate or bring us some ideas. Let them submit based on criteria ideas to us, and then we review and let the public actually get involved, and we select one idea that everyone loves and can be actually engineered or, and by the way, there's still so much work to be done from a city side of this. I'm not at all believing that this thing can just happen and the city just says, okay, great, let's go paint a water tower. There's so much to be done in regards of, getting in front of the city council, talking to, again, leadership, and just making sure everyone feels that this is a good idea for Jacksonville Beach. But yeah, ideas, I didn't answer the question. So ideas like, one beautiful idea that would be, I think, striking is a jellyfish. The tower shape at 135 feet tall, it really does kind of have a jellyfish shape.
Sure.
And so I have one idea where we, could actually wrap or paint the top of the tower in beautiful color, reflective, kind of nice, translucent kind of paints. And then now this gets a little more interesting. We might sculpturally be able to affix to, the what do you call them, posts, the supports, sort of a material, durable acrylic-based kind of material that's reflective or translucent, that sort of is the
tentacles
of the jellyfish. And you could imagine it lit up at night. You could see it, you could see it at night, you could see it in the daylight, and it would just, I think, be such a treat for people to look at something beautiful as opposed to, again, a blue water tower with cell phone with cell phone things stuck to it. But that's one of the ideas. I think I have one with water conservation, another one that's sea turtle protection, where you could just go through a number of ideas, and one it's going to be one that I think reflects on history here, or somehow is respectful of the history of the beaches, that presents again a statement that this is who we kind of are, and welcome to the beaches.
Not apropos to the project, but I mentioned at the top of the interview that you're a Guinness World Record holder for what?
I'm a Guinness World Record holder for longest surf marathon. This was in 2010 when I found out about the record. And long story short, it was a fundraiser for 26.2 with Donna, and I've been involved with that organization for about 8 years, and always enjoy fundraising. It's first of all, it's very satisfying, gratifying to get involved in nonprofits and see money raised to, in this case, finish breast cancer. So the goal was 10,000. I actually raised about 20,000 by staying out in the ocean for 30 hours straight. I was allowed to come in every 15 minutes or for breaks, and I would take a 15-minute break every 3 hours. But literally, I was in the ocean for 30 hours.
Do you remember how many waves you actually surfed?
Oh yeah, that was part of the record. In fact, the record holder previously, he surfed for 26 hours, and he caught 150 waves, and I caught 317 waves, something like that, in a 30-hour period.
So that's going to be tough to beat for somebody.
I hope. Yeah, I don't want to go back out and do it again.
Well, Kurtis, good luck with your project. We'll be watching it carefully, and good luck when in One Spark. I'm sure that you'll find some great creative juices going down there, and it sounds like you've gone a long way with it, and we hope you're able to be successful. And if there's anything that we can do to help you promote that, we'll be happy to do that.
Well, thanks, Tom. I appreciate your time today.